Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, GordoGambles, here today for a new segment on the channel. I'm having fun with this one. We are calling this one Prop Drop, and we're going over our favorite targets for 3 prop websites. And of course, this is all started thanks to Thrive. Make sure if you guys use Thrive Fantasy to use the code Gordo in the shop. But new segment. We're going to see how this one goes. I got a nice little co-host with me today. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to go over our favorite targets for not only Thrive Fantasy, but also for Underdog and PrizePick. I think there's a lot of money to be made on all 3 of those websites. So I'm excited to share what I dug into, what I found on tape, and what I'm able to target this weekend so you guys can make some money along with us. But luckily, I'm not alone. I got a great co-host for you guys this week. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's his first live stream, so show him some love and support. Say hello to Key. Welcome, Key. How you doing?
What's good, bro? Glad to join you.
For sure, man. And you're helping me break this in. I haven't done really anything targeting these 3 websites, but I know you're a pro at it, so I'm happy to have your insight. Are you looking forward to the card?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody can make sure to follow me at Key3Picks on Twitter. I do NBA, WNBA, and then specialty, of course, UFC and anything MMA related.
Of course. So once again, sponsored by Thrive Fantasy. Use code Gordo there, but we're going to get it started. We're going to start off with PrizePicks. We'll get that going to start. PrizePicks, of course. I myself don't have a code. I don't know if you do, but I know a couple guys. If you guys want a deposit bonus going in there, you can use code Liam. You can mess me for another code, but let's go over these ones. I mean, there's a lot to get through on this one. Of course, with the PFL ones, I'm not covering anything PFL wise. We're focusing on UFC Austin, but I won't be selfish. I will let you, the guest, break in. What is your favorite play this week on PrizePicks?
My favorite play this week on PrizePicks is definitely Kevin Holland over fantasy score of 91.5.
Okay.
I really like him in a spot versus Tim Means here. He's bouncing back after losses versus Vittori and Brunson, and after beating Cowboy Oliveira in that fight, he started to look really comfortable in the second round and found his groove. I think Tim Means is definitely going to give him the fight that he wants, standing up on the feet. He may mix in a little bit of wrestling, but Means just isn't explosive enough to where I think that he'll be consistently getting Holland down. So I expect Holland to be the sniper that he is and eat Tim Means up this week.
Hey, bro, you also hit all the points I was going to hit, but you also have to add in he's coming down a weight class. I think that power is really going to translate. He's a big dude for this weight division. Excited to see how this is going to go tomorrow for sure at the weigh-ins. But 91.5, I do agree it's a bit low from him. Is an 8.9 salary on DraftKings. I broke it down Wednesday on my own stream with PubSport Radio that I do think he's a great GPP play because his upside's there. Tim Mean's been hit. He's been touched up. I really like the over here with you. I hope he does well for you, man.
Yeah, I really do expect, and it doesn't hurt that he's my favorite fighter, so there's a tad bit of bias
There
there.
you go.
But my guy, he really is a sniper, and I feel like whenever he does win, it's in a spectacular fashion, and I really do believe him. And I think that he's, I want to say a -285 favorite this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Vegas likes him a lot, and I think we should too.
All right, man. Well, we're going from a play that you really like, and I completely agree. He's a great high level fighter, but we're going down. We're going low level for this next one, and I might get a little bit of flack for this, but I think honestly, my favorite fantasy score play this week, my favorite prize pick play is this girl right here, Gloria DePaula. And I know Uncle Weezy's going to threaten me with a bag of oranges for this one because it is such a low level fight. But you know where we're going? We're going the over. I mean, I think she's the better fighter almost everywhere here. Maria Oliveira is just not UFC caliber in my opinion. She's been hit way too much. She's very hittable. She's given up in fights before. Her ground game is absolutely atrocious. So it's one where I think that ceiling's definitely there. But when we're looking at someone in prize picks, you don't care about the ceiling. You care, is she going to get to 80 points? Is she going to hit that over? And I think she hits it a lot of the time. If she faces any resistance on the feet, I mean, she has that ground game. She has that takedown in her back pocket. Of course, she went out there, put up 84.9 last time out against Diana Belbita. And I think Belbita's levels above Oliveira here. Give me the over. Maybe not the prettiest play, but I definitely think is a sneaky one this weekend. I also like Cody Stamen and Calvin Kattar at overs here as well. But if we're going to give you one core play, somehow, some way, my crazy self is picking Gloria DePaula. So that is it for fantasy score. Do you have anything else you want to add in terms of strikes, significant strikes, fight time, takedowns?
I tend to stay away from fight time as it can damn near give you a stroke. But with significant strikes, I really like Philip Hawes over.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
right there. If you watch the Chris Curtis fight, he just looks so much more like a refined striker. His athleticism was starting to show, a lot of teeps right up the middle. He was really marching down, and it was up until he got clipped and knocked out. It was a striking clinic from him. And I think with Deron Wynn, I think he is very hittable. We've seen versus his fights with Arroyo and others that he is very hittable. He is sometimes just looking for that right hand only. And so I think as long as Hawes stays away from the big right hand early and tries to stay off that mat, because we know Wynn is a world-class wrestler, I think that he'll be just fine, just teeping and continuing to march forward versus Wynn.
For sure. And I think that Philip Haas has so much promise, but he has two major downfalls. He's kind of like Michael Johnson is he can just slip on a banana peel at any time. His chin is definitely there to be hit. His cardio is questionable. So whereas I don't mind the significant strike prop, I'm looking at his fight time here. I know he said he'll give you a stroke. This one probably will, but I think that this one's too high. I'm taking the under on Philip Haas' fight time here as well. And you know what? It's a questionable one because Deron Wynn's kind of a grinder, but I feel like he's going to push the pace, right? So you have a guy in Philip Haas who is going to be the better fighter, the much bigger fighter. That meme going around of how short Wynn is hilarious. But Philip Haas is going to be the bigger guy. He's going to have the power, and I think that he has that 100% takedown defense. So if he's able to keep Deron Wynn off of him early, he can definitely put his lights out. On the other hand, he is prone to slipping on that banana peel. He can definitely just get clipped. He could also, because whereas Wynn's not even the best striker, he throws with heat and he throws hooks, but he could definitely also be gassed out, right? If Deron Wynn's going to go over and grapple him for the first 10 minutes, who knows how he's going to fare in that third round? That one's very questionable. But for me, the real under the fight time one I'm going after this weekend is this one right here, Albert Duraev, under 10 minutes. What are your thoughts on this one? Because in my opinion, you have the striker versus grappler. Duraev, great on the ground. Joaquin Buckley just controlled by Al Hassan, who's definitely not a great look there. But on the other hand, Duraev's been knocked out. Buckley is famous for his knockout power. I definitely see this one going under. Do you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I really do like this one. I was thinking about going Duraev over fantasy score, but Buckley's knockout power and the way that he puts people out, I think it's good to stray away from the fantasy score. So I think fight time is the way to go with this one. And I like that.
For sure. I love that. And one last one I will leave you guys with just because I have to throw it out here. Where did I see it? Cody Stamann. It's his over in his fantasy score as well. I think he has a decent floor. He's facing a guy in Eddie Wineland who could just be knocked over by a gust of wind. He's definitely on the decline. I do think Cody Stamann gets his first UFC finish, but I think he puts up a decent score in the meantime. But I think we covered enough prize picks there. Is there anything else you want to add?
I'll add one pick off the PFL slate. I know we're not touching it much at all.
Go for it.
But the fantasy score of Josh Silvero over. He is ATT's golden child. Conan Silvero is his dad. And as we know, he's coached Amanda Nunes and a lot of the Brazilians out of ATT. And Josh is 8-0. He's going in favored at 180, I want to say. But I really like his over here. And I think that's a good, if you want to pair that even with like Cater's over fantasy score, I like a lot too. I think that you could really get some action in PFL too.
All right, there you go. You guys can put that one in there. Again, I don't have my own promo code, but if you guys need any deposit bonus codes, code Liam, I can show you a bunch of those. So that covers a lot of the prize pick basis. We got 2 more apps to cover, so let's get her going. Next one up, we got Underdog Fantasy. And if I'm being completely honest, I probably use this one the least, but there's definitely a lot of good spots we can target. Over-unders on this one. You can see I got 3 of mine right there, but let's start with you. What are your thoughts on the Underdog slate?
So it's a little bit weaker than last week's, if I'm being honest. Underdog was a little bit tighter on their lines. But the number one play that I'm targeting the most, and you have it a little similar with Phil Hall's under 2.0 takedowns. I have Deron Wynn rivals with the +1 bonus, taking him over Phil Hall's in the takedown department. I think that Phil Hawes is definitely not shooting for legs in this fight if he knows what's good for him. He has a striking advantage. He's the much more technical striker. I think that he's going to be able to march down Wynn. I think that Wynn is going to do his best. He's had, I know he had 16 takedown attempts versus Arroyo. He's a volume wrestler, and that's what we're going to see from Nguyen. And I don't think that Hawes is going to play into that game and want to do that back to him. And so I'm very confident with Nguyen taking him over Phil Hawes in that one.
Yeah, man, I like that one too. It's one where you have the guy in Win he's just a one-dimensional guy. And like you said it, he goes for those takedowns. So I don't think that necessarily Haas is going to want to go to the ground too much. He also does tend to gas out. He's such a clear advantage in the feet. That's why I'm taking his under right here. Rivals is a good way as well. Both of those I think bode very well. Give me unders on that one. Give me the under the fight time. We've talked about this all before. That's a fight I'm definitely targeting. But you know what? I didn't really look at the rivals too much. I'm going to stick with just a simple over-unders on my thoughts. Next play, we're taking Kyle Dawkins over 50.5 significant strikes. And this is one I'm kind of questionable on because I don't really know how to get this good read on Delitze just because he's just this, I don't want to say low IQ, but he definitely makes some questionable mistakes out there. If this ends up being a long, prolonged grappling bout, I do think that that's the only way Delitze can win this because he is sneaky on the ground. But I think that Kyle Dawkins is actually the better wrestler, the way better striker. And if he's smart, he stays at range and pieces up Roman Delitze, who has about, let's say, 8 minutes of cardio to be nice. So I think that 50 is definitely a decent way to get there. I also see if Dawkins wants to floor him and go on some ground and pound, I do think that's there. I think the over in 50 significant strikes is set a bit too low, for my opinion. But not necessarily one that I'm loving as much. I think that definitely the prize pick board is good there too. And I'll have to look over those rivals like you mentioned too, because I was scrolling through them and I saw some decent ones. But the last one for me here is going to be Donald Cerrone under 45.5 significant strikes. And as much as I don't want to admit it, I just see violence in this one because there's two guys on the decline. You got to think that Joe Lozon's path to victory is a round one knockout, which isn't impossible, but I don't see the fight lasting too long. And for that reason, I don't see him accruing over 50 significant strikes. So whereas I'm cheering for both these guys and where I do like them and wish them happy retirement after this, I'm going with the under in this one. Do you agree on that one? Or what are your thoughts on that Cerrone versus Lozon fight?
No, it's definitely a nasty fight to say the least. Two guys on decline. It should be a fun one. I don't expect this to go very long, to be honest. I think that we'll see two old guys slug it out. And if it goes to the ground, I think Lozon can get his jiu-jitsu going and we'll see a quick finish from either one.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add? What other plays you got here on Underdog?
The other play that I have on Underdog is going back to Kevin Holland with the rivals. Him over Tim Means significant strikes. Tim Means does have the 5.5 strike bonus, but in Kevin Holland's past fights, whenever he wins, his opponents are not touching him. That's his success. Whenever he's going and his opponents aren't touching him, he does not really get in slugfest, even though people think so. He really does not tend to get in slugfest at all. He's just a sniper. So I think that going back to Kevin Holland on this one, I think will be very good in profit this week riding with him.
Very good. And I think the last one I got to put here is Tony Kelly over Yanez in takedowns. I don't think that Yanez is going to shoot a takedown at all. So I'm not saying Tony Kelly necessarily does, but I do think he's more apt to than his opponent, Adrian Yanez. So I think that wraps that one up pretty good too. There we go. 2 apps. I'm liking the plays we got so far. I'll definitely have to lock some of those in myself, but that brings us to the very last one, Thrive Fantasy. And if you guys don't know what Thrive Fantasy is, it's kind of a mix of both, right? You have their prop market as they do, but what they do is they turn that into a DFS contest. So you're competing, you pick 5 positions, and then you compete against others, bro. So you get different points, different points based on the riskiness of it all. So, of course, people expect a Joe Queen to get did not knock him out, so he gets 70 points. If he does knock him out, you get 130. Whoever gets the most points at the end of the night wins the prize pool. Look at that, $5,000. Looking very pretty. And if you guys do decide you guys want to play this, make sure to use code Gordo. You get a 100% deposit match as well as different contest options as well. Be sure to DM me if you have any questions. But I have my play here, but we'll let you go first since you're the guest this weekend, and I got this set up all for you. Favorite target, once again, that Holland fight. Tell us a bit about it.
Yes, sir. So Tim Means under 1.5 takedowns. So I know, we all know Kevin Holland has dealt with takedown defense, and it's been really bad in the past. But if we really look at the guys who have been taking him down at will, it was explosive guys like Vettori. Vettori is a tank. We have a world-class wrestler in Brunson, too, who is getting him down consistently. Kevin Holland, 6'3". He's coming down a weight class. He's the much bigger man. I really do think that Tim Means just isn't explosive enough. And I also think that we're going to see a real decline in Tim Means' performance overall in this whole fight. He's 38. He's turning that corner eventually to where it's going to go completely downhill. I think this is the fight.
Hey, for sure, man. I don't mind it. And you've been saying it all day. He definitely is a sniper. So his significant strike accuracy there. Don't mind that one. But my play this week is going to be the unders. We talked about this previously, but I'm liking the unders in that the old man fight. I do think that unfortunately it doesn't last as long as it should because you want to see these guys, these warriors go long. But I'm liking Donald Cerrone under significant strikes again. I know it's set at 43, but I think that Joe Lozon's going to sell out in that first round. I also don't think he attempts more than 1.5 subs. I know you're talking about Lozon's ground game, but Donald Cerrone is very, very sneaky. He's very, very good on the ground, and I don't think it necessarily gets there. When this fight was first booked, I actually had a small ticket on Joe Lozon first round knockout just because I think that's his major path to victory. Don't have that anymore, but I don't think that these ones go. I think you can play both these unders pretty nicely. And then if you want to add another play for me, it won't be my fave target because we already got that out of the way. But I'm not minding this Albert Duraev over in sub attempts because his path to victory is going to be on the ground. I think if he gets that takedown, which we saw last time out against Buckley, it's not that hard to get. That he's definitely going to go for a submission right off the bat. He is a finisher, very good at it. I don't mind him here. I think he definitely does very, very well this fight. However, if he stays in the fight for too long, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be the Joaquin Buckley knockdown. So I definitely think it's Duraev on the ground getting that sub attempt or Joaquin Buckley on the feet getting that knockdown. What are your thoughts for any additional plays on Thrive?
No, I definitely agree with all of those. And one that I would add would be Calvin Kattar over
Yes.
105.56 strikes. We see that line a little bit higher on PrizePicks, I think at 110. And we also see it's very much higher on Underdog at 125.5. I think that if Emmett does not clip him early, Emmett's in for a long beating. And I think you tweeted out earlier this week, Cater's tape is so fun to watch. Those
So fun.
elbows, the pace that he puts on people. And I know everybody loves to look at that Holloway fight, but man, that Giga Chikadze fight was a show. And I think that we're in for one. If Emmett does not clip Cater early, it's going to get spooky for Emmett.
You know what, man? I am a Holloway fan at heart. I've watched that fight so many times, and it's not even a thing as if if Kattar was that bad. It was just Holloway was that
Yeah,
good. I don't
exactly.
think that Kattar has to worry about that volume, that pressure at all. It's just a battle of a guy who has not been knocked down versus a guy who purely gets knockdowns. I think
Yeah.
it'd be a fun fight. Spoiler alert, I have a bet on this one. I have a bet on Calvin Kattar 4-5 or decision at plus money. I think
I
that's
like
how it
that.
goes. I definitely am with you on that over right there. But that's going to do it for us here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel in terms of our plays. I appreciate you joining me here on the very first episode of the Prop Drop. It's been lots of fun. Shout out to everybody who joined in and tuned out. Of course, what's up, DFS Whisperer? I'll have to have you on the show sometime. But before we get out of here, any additional plays and or where to find you?
There won't be any additional plays for me. I'm still looking, so make sure to follow me at Key3Picks on Twitter. That's where all of my picks will be dropped. I'm also in a few different Discords as their UFC guy. And so just make sure to follow me on Twitter. I do different sports, and I'm always available, DMs open if you ever have any questions.
For sure. Once again, appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you for coming on to the show. Wow. So many things going on in my head, so many different apps and different ways to target this UFC Austin card. 14 fight. It is an absolute banger, but that's going to do it. Under 20 minutes. I kind of like this idea. Weekly coming on here. Hopefully you can join me one more time, Key, at the end of one more time this summer, because I do think we did a good job here. But no, lots of money to be made. If you guys want to know what else I'm doing on the channel, now you guys can go check out that DFS video that should be out, let's say, the next couple hours, because I'm still editing it, but I got tons of content. Check me on Twitter as well at GordoGambles, and let's make some money, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in, and good luck in all your betting endeavors this weekend.